What's up, everybody? How's it going? My name is David. This is my first ride in about a year. For a quick story, I got two bikes. They're both broken. One's repairable. The other one is not. It's wall art. At any rate, thought I would do a little bit of a video about my first ride back. Here we are on the road. I just want to say, for those who are in a car and you're bitching about the roads, fuck it, try it on a bike. Man, some of these roads will loosen you up, loosen your kidneys up. You'll poop them out later. But I wanted to bring you this video and show you a little bit of the trails that now open up. This one's down by my house. That just opened up. It's a nice smooth trail, as you can see. Nice bank, huh? At any rate, it's a nice smooth trail. It goes in areas behind, out of the traffic. I totally love this trail in the sense that it's a great daytime trail. If you look to your right, there is a new Mount Mercy facility. That's right. It's a football field, a baseball, softball, soccer, outdoor field that I didn't even know that was even being built. Can you believe that? That's part of why I like to commute on a bicycle, because you can see what's happening in your neighborhood. Again, we're back on the trail. As you can see, we're getting close to the place where I got to get actually on the street, and kidney punchers. That's right, back on a very bumpy, very terrible street. Now, I had done this video earlier and I had attached the video camera onto the handlebars. You can see a little bit of wobble on this video. Much worse. Put it on a handlebar, it was going back and forth. Now you can see that I have sped up this this video. I did stop there. This video, just so that you know, it's a 30-minute type of video otherwise, and I don't think you want to sit there for 30 minutes and watch my ride. But again, it's been about a year since I've been riding. I love the fact that we got these trails going on. I love the fact that I'm seeing more of these lanes popping up. There's only one thing, and you'll see here that I have a bitch about these bike lanes, and that is it still kind of leaves you, for the inexperienced rider, open for a right hook. Did you see that? Now, I came out a little bit, and I came up behind that car a little bit to the side so I can see the turn signal, and I can let them actually do their turn. An inexperienced rider on these trails will, and I've seen it, pull all the way up to that white line where they're supposed to stop. The problem is it leaves you blind to the person who is turning, and if you're not careful and that person also is not being careful, they'll right hook you. So I would love to see something that would kind of intuitively push the beginner rider out behind the car. Now you'll see two other examples of me getting into traffic, stopping on more busier places, and how I handle that. I think it's probably the best, or kind of a mix of different solutions. I don't necessarily like to be directly behind the car, especially if there's an unattentive driver who is fucking texting and sees that you're there, slams on the brakes, and next thing you know, you're flying up over the car while your bike's being an accordion, and that's the best case scenario. I'd hate to see what would actually happen if you got pinned, especially going really, really fast if that car is. You can see I'm close to Quaker Oats, actually right next to Quaker Oats. Not a bad place. Gets a little busy, as you can see, with the trucks, especially during the harvest time. It's not a bad area to commute in. The traffic's not too heavy. This gets a little weird out here. Again, kind of bumpy, going over 380. Truck is going to come right next to me. There it is. Taking a defensive position just behind the truck. Let the guy do his thing. turn, and then come up here. I'm the only one in this lane, so I'll go all the way to the edge. I've got my spot. Turn in. Again, now heavier traffic. I'm going to be a little bit more defensive and let people do their thing, like you see right there. I'm a little bit to the edge. I've got my escape. So, yeah, I think that's a great place to be. I've got that escape if I start hearing squealing tires, and I'm not going to become an accordion. Now watch this. Not very much space. Boom! Less than 3 feet, fucker. All right. So give the cyclists some space. I know they're not going fast enough, but give them some space. That car would have hit the curb, bounce around. Next thing you know, I had a ton and a half of cars sitting on my chest. All right, here we are. We're at nighttime. Now, for most of the time, my night gear is a light on the front. If I'm going to be on the streets, primarily on the streets, I'll have it flashing. I just left it not flashing because I'm not going to be on the streets very long. I'm going back the same way I came. So coming up to the lights, turning. Again, let the guy do his thing. You don't have to be, hey, I'm a bicyclist and I had the right of way there. Be defensive. Watch. The best thing you can do is watch people's eyes. If they're looking right at you, 95% of the time they see you. Most of the time I see a lot of motorists with their head down looking at their fucking screens. So again, no, really, I hate it when people talk on the phone because I can hide behind most smartphones. Get a little lost back there. It gets a little bit dark. The other thing I'm wearing, I wear layers. I also have ski goggles. They're a bright orange. They do okay at night, but if I don't have the goggles on and I'm riding just with glasses, I tell you what, it is painful. When that cold hits your eyes, you feel like you're freezing your eyeballs off. It is way too cold. Having those goggles on and having a full ski sort of mask on keeps you warm enough, keeps the warm air so you're not roaching your lungs with cold air, because that gets very painful and you get huge coughing fits when you get the warm air again. So that's what I like to wear. Again, layers. I'm wearing a bright coat. I've got a steady light on the front because I'm on trails. I got a flashing light in back. I do hit some more. I hit some more of the streets and such. You'll see coming up. But this trail is rather dark, so being familiar with the trail helps. During the summer, it's a little bit more, got a little bit more traffic on there. It's a lot easier to navigate, but during the winter, there's not as much traffic on there. Again, I'm wearing ski goggles that are kind of tinted, and it's a little bit harder, and I'm not as familiar, so I get a little lost back there. But it'd be nice to see some more lights back there. I think eventually, as we start putting a little bit more money into it. Again, here's some more bike trails. I love these bike lanes. I just think that we need to spend a little bit more time in showing people how to use it, especially the beginners. I tend to, again, get, as you saw the examples, get behind a car, not directly behind, but a little bit to the side, so that way I have a way of getting out of the way. If I start hearing screeching tires, I've got an escape route so that I'm not going to get pinned in there, and I can keep an eye on where that car is in front of me. Behind me, I'm hoping that the cars will not overtake me and then right hook me. Getting on the trail. It's not a bad little trail. There's plenty of lights up around here, but as you start getting into the trail more behind the Mount Mercy facility, it's hard. As you can see, I'm lost. It gets hard to see where you're going. Excuse me. So I would really love to see some sort of lighting system. I'm sure once the track light, or once the lights are on back there, there's that guy I was talking about, thinking about earlier. That's the only way I can get myself around back there, is because there was someone more familiar with me running and I could see his blinking light. But as you see, it's very dark back there. I would like to see some lights back there to kind of help navigate that area, to make it a little bit more safer. I think that's the only thing that I don't like about this trail. Otherwise, it's a great trail. It's smooth. This trail, if it gets its way, if we get our way, will extend out to Marion, so that way you're not on First Avenue trying to get to wherever you want to go out in Marion. You can take this trail. You can get in some nice wooded areas, I assume, some nice rural areas, and have a nice safe commute. I'm back on my street going home at the bottom of the hill. That's what sucks about my commute. The last bit of my commute is up this god-forsaken hill. It's not as big as like C Street, which seems like it's straight up, but this one is long and tiresome. And you can see, even going fast on the video, that I am going slow. And I'm struggling. But, again, it's a nice commute. I love being commuting. It takes the stress out of life. I don't have to worry about parking. You know, like I said, I only live about a mile away, and I put another mile on just trying to find a parking spot. Your party environment, as you can see, things change in your neighborhood. You get a chance to see it. I drive every day. Didn't know Mount Mercy had built that facility back there. And how could you miss it? It's huge. There's the house, and I'm stopped. That's my commute. But it's huge. That's a huge facility. Didn't even know, because I don't get out on my bike. And I don't get to see what's going on in the neighborhood. Second, that wind in your hair. I know right now it's really, really kind of cold at this point, but, having that wind in your hair, just that freedom makes life a lot easier. So, again, that was my commute. I want to tell you a little bit about Johnny B, how this ride was brought to you by Johnny B. Again, I have two bikes. They're broken. One's built in 86. It's not modular like they are now today, where you could take the cogs off, replace the freewheel, and put the cogs back on. Back in 86, that's all one piece. And my freewheel is fried. It was built in 86. It's finally wore out. It's a great bike. I'm hoping that someday I will be able to put the money, $300-400 at this point, to fix the bike. But until then, I'd rather take that $300 or $400 and put it towards a new bike. I've got one in mind. It's more of a touring bike. I think that would be something that I would enjoy a lot more. I'd be able to put packs on. I'd be able to go out and ride and put my camera equipment in and do landscape photography. Again, the other bike was a mountain bike, and the frame had cracked right around the bottom bracket. There's no way to really fix it to be sure that it's fixed. Yeah, I could weld it, but you're still gonna have to put tension in, just keep the frame, keep that form, so that when you screw everything together, it stays together. So Johnny B knew that I wasn't, that I was bikeless, and called me up and said, "Hey man, I got a bike I want you to take a look at." So I went over there. It's a Trek 7000, as you saw in the first part of the video. Trek 7000 is a really nice bike. It's got a tension piece on it because apparently, and I've had this happen when you go down, bombing down a hill, sometimes that bouncing around will let your chain dislodge, and then you're having to try to put the chain back on. So that's kind of nice. The story behind it when I got there was that a friend of his had passed away, and his friend's mom gave John the bike, which was really, really sweet. Now, the bike's been sitting around for a while, and he just said, "Hey, Dave's thought about me." And he says, "Hey, he's got a bike." So he called me up and said, "You want to borrow the bike? I don't want to sell it. it's got more sentimental value to me. I just thought you could ride it. And I said, well, John, that is really, really nice. And I will ride it. I mean, I was blown away, could have just sat there, but John, remembered that I didn't have a bike and gave me a call and let me now borrow the bike. So John, it's in good hands. I'll keep it clean. We'll keep it running and tip top, and in about a year or so, we'll get it to you back in good shape. But again, man, I really appreciate it. And if you see John, give him, high five, because that was really, really nice of John to do that. So thank you, man. Can't thank you enough. But again, getting back out on this bike and getting back in riding, I highly, highly recommend it. I know it's winter. I know that it's going to be hard to dress up and take a ride in the middle of winter, but so think about it during this time. Think about, how far do you actually ride or drive your car? If you're only, 2 to 5 miles away, what's stopping you from riding a bicycle to work? You don't have to ride really hard. If you don't want to get sweaty, you just take it easy, take extra time and enjoy the weather and enjoy the ride instead of cursing and going, where the fuck am I going to park? God damn it, that guy's, just cut me off, and I don't even want to deal with the meetings that are going on, and this person's kind of an ass. I don't have those thoughts when I'm riding a bike to work. I'm thinking about the ride to work, and when I get there, I'm less stressed. And when I leave, I might be stressed out, but by the time I get home, I'm less stressed. So yeah, consider maybe in the spring and maybe in May, there's that bike to work week to dig out the bike, see if it's in good enough shape, get it worked on by your local bike shop, have it cleaned up. Now it's time to do it because they're a little low on things to do, except for fat tire people who are giving them enough to do. But again, it's going to be easier to get your bike cleaned up, tuned up, ready to go, and come to bike work week. Consider riding your bike to work, because it's a lot better than driving to work, especially if you don't have a very long commute. So that's the video. I thought you'd share it with you. I'll share it with other videos with you as I start figuring out a better place to put the camera and do a little bit of this, maybe a little bit more structured next time. But until then, ride safe and ride often. And thanks for listening.